Listening to you, one would gather that driving change is beyond doubt one really tough business. I mean, not only does it require a deep-seated, unshakable commitment, but it also calls for flexibility and persistence in equal measures. And that begs another question. How on earth do you do it? I mean, mentally. Can I ask how you manage your work-life balance? I think this is a recurrent problem in many professions. It's challenging. Did you have to sacrifice anything? If so, how do you deal with it? Giovanni, you first.
What did I sacrifice? I like to be connected to my world most of the time. And this also includes the work that I do. So I don't split your life from your work in the same way that many other people do. And I like this because of the possibility of doing flexible working. So the fact that you can work at different times, also in different locations, comes also with the fact that you need to become available most of the time. I've always been working in that way, and I like this. The fact that also the sustainability is such a boiling topic at the moment. So the flow of information is so strong and so sometimes overwhelming that you need to be connected most of the time in order to keep the conversation going and in order to make sure that you have the latest information around this topic. So I don't see this as a sacrifice, Nirmala. I would say that this is more part of the job requirements at this moment in time, and the fact that the way in which I personally like to drive it. But the biggest sacrifice, I would say, is mostly the geographical distance and the fact that you may not have the luxury of being surrounded by your family most of the time. So that's something that for people entering this career in different countries probably to be considered carefully.
Mm-hmm. Cristina, in the pursuit of your passion, have you had to, scrounge and kind of struggle not with uncertainty, financial uncertainty?
Well, I'm very lucky, and I might say that no, sustainability pays my rent. So, but this means also that because sustainability is part of my professional life, but also my passion, I might be very honest and say that I completely fail in work-life balance. It's very challenging to just wrap up and close like your work environment and your working hours and then connect with whatever is out there in your life, because it's so porous. For me, it's just completely connected, and sometimes it's even mentally tiring as well because of what Giovanni was mentioning. There's so much information, so much fantastic things to read, to know about. There's a lot of push also around this agenda. It's something that is emerging, that is becoming very central. So I think that also just managing expectations, taking care of yourself, and also allow yourself to sometimes just stop absorbing and contemplating just the normal life. For me, it has been a challenge for sure. And perhaps the biggest challenge, it's not economical, because I had the very luxury to being offered this job after many years of having a very low wage job in the public sector in Colombia, not being able to save a lot of money, but very connected with my passion and being just, we say arras in Spanish, but now I have the opportunity for this to be part of my career and my kind of, and be comfortable somehow economically. But then the challenge is more personal, is mental, is allowing myself to lower a bit the ambitions. And I think that when you reach to a point that you can become somehow influential, this comes with a lot of also a sense of responsibility and perfectionism. And I think that we really need to embrace not being perfect. And I can also talk about my experience because of being not speaking English, not being my native language, and being a woman, and a lot of pressures and a lot of conditions that comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of it's a challenge. It's a challenge for sure.
Marianne, have you had difficulty managing work-life balance? I mean, what have you had to sacrifice?
Honestly, I think work and life is more intertwined than we might think. So from the attitude perspective, I'm actually aspiring to be an essentialist, If you think about it, let's take a typical work day, list down all of the things that we need to do or we have to do or whatever. There could be 100 in your list. How many of them are actually truly impactful or important or essential? I would much rather work on three to five really important high impact things compared to 50, a lot of fluff here and there. I would much rather be streamlined and intentional with the things that I do with my day. The other thing to consider is that rest and recreation is a huge part of creativity. That's why I have a hard time separating the two, because I could be on the train and working in my head. I could be out in nature on a hike and working on my head. And I actually do that a lot, because you could be sitting for 8 hours on your computer and you're stuck and you think it looks like you're working because on your desk, but you're running out of creative juice. So what I would actually do is like, all right, I'm gonna go on a thinking walk. I would say to my husband, I'm gonna go out in nature, I'm gonna do a thinking walk, because there are so many times where inspiration would actually strike when I'm not on my desk. So once we make peace with the fact that that balance and that, more of like a holistic lifestyle and more intentional lifestyle is actually very, very necessary in this kind of work, then you will tend to embrace it. And you will tend to feel less guilty that, I actually took some time for myself. It's actually truly, truly necessary. Stress and anxiety is not a great breeding ground for creativity. That's what I realized, and that's also what I read. And that's also what I found to be true with myself. So I make sure that I have a lot of time dedicated to, going out to nature, going out to parks, doing other things. And that's the beauty of working for myself, because I have complete freedom to do that. I think that is something that money cannot buy. Yeah.